Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Owens can do it on his own, for this is a Fred the Alien Productions podcast.
Check it out, it's Craig!
It's Craig! Do you remember that one time James Corden was on Doctor Who? Well, guess what? He's back.
It's back!
He's
Oh
back.
no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! But before that, we have to cue the music.
I don't know what we're yelling about! We came, we saw, we kicked its ass!
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Look, we're gonna have company! Loud noises!
Hello.
Hello.
Hello!
I'm a Kendall Richardson.
I'm a Fulya and Michael.
And I'm the live and local Michael Lister.
And you are now experiencing a podcast called Fred.
Yes, experiencing it for the mediums of, sunlight. Direct sunlight. What the hell?
Oh,
4
no.
o'clock. Yeah.
Too loud.
4 o'clock. Oh my god. Yes, we're here earlier. Can you believe it?
I believe.
Anything called love. Yes. We're we're old people at the end of the day, and it's nice to do this when we're all a bit more awake and present. So we're trying out the earlier time again, seeing how it works for our schedules.
Still, I need a stimulant.
Yes, I have my coffee right here.
And I'm just here with my water.
Good.
Oh, aren't we hydrated?
Yes, very hydrated.
Very hydrated, yes. Well, now that we've got our beverage talk out of the way, let's dive into the weekly watchings. Fulya, please take us through what you've been watching.
So, Moana 2 has come to Disney Plus finally, and I sat down to watch it. Right. Cool. It was fun for what it was. The story was interesting. We got to see Moana a bit more grown up and still going out on her adventures out into the sea. The one thing that was really cool is that we got to meet some new characters. She doesn't go out alone this time. She actually goes with a little bit of a crew, which is cool. And they're all kind of quirky characters from the island. And yeah, it was fun. The one thing I will say, the music wasn't, it didn't hit the mark for me specifically compared to the first one. But the songs were still good. They were still entertaining. And I kind of like how they managed to use some of the lyrics from the first movie songs into and incorporated them into the songs for the second movie, which is really interesting. It was really cool. We get to see the return of Maui, but we don't get to see Maui as much as we did in the first one. So it's mostly Moana and her friends. This Hei and Pua, both of them together get to travel into the oceans. But we have a new threat. We have a new threat to the world. They're trying to reconnect with other people from other islands. But unfortunately, the main connection is this sort of like island, kind of like a hub that was cursed and was hidden away underwater. So it was up to Moana and her friends and Maui to resurface that island to be able to reconnect with the other islanders around the ocean. So that was that, and yeah, like it was good. It was good fun. It was entertaining, but yeah, it just didn't live up to the hype that I was hoping for compared to what the first one was. I still enjoyed it, but I think the first one's still better for sure. Yeah. Yes, Kendall.
Yes, yes. Question. This was originally supposed to be a TV show on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
When you were watching it, could you tell that? Like, did it feel like they squeezed it in, or did it flow well like a film should?
Still flowed okay as a film. I don't know how it would have been split up into an actual show, to be fair.
Right. Okay.
But I could see it working as a TV show if they really wanted to, like, extend it a little bit. That might have worked. But I think I'm kind of glad they didn't, and they just made it. It was an hour and 40-minute movie, so
Oh,
it was
short.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's very short. So
Yeah.
as most animated movies are anyway these days. So yeah, no, it's fine as a film. It flowed all right. Yeah.
Cool.
It did feel a teeny bit rushed though. Like there were aspects of the story that kind of felt like they were pushing it forward a little bit quickly. But other than that, like yeah, it was still fine. I just didn't really, I don't know that I really connected with the story as much as I did with the first one. But yeah, it was cool. And we got to meet Moana's little sister, who, you know, is like toddler age. But she was like really cute in the whole idea of, you know, seeing Moana leave the island. She didn't want her leaving. She had a little bit of separation anxiety with Moana, which was, you know, very cute and also a little upsetting. But yeah, when she found out that, you know, Moana had to go off and go on this big adventure, and there's a possibility of her not returning because of how dangerous it was. Yeah, the little sister was not happy about that. So she was very sad that she had to leave. But yeah, no, it was a good movie overall. I didn't mind it. Another thing I've been watching is I started watching a new anime called Free Ren Beyond Journey's End. And it is essentially about an elf mage by the name of Free Ren, and we follow her adventures. The first episode essentially shows, like, it goes straight into her coming back from a 10-year adventure with a group of friends, and they're all celebrated and all that sort of stuff. But then, because she's an elf, and elves live out their lives a lot longer compared to like humans or dwarves, she ends up seeing her friends pass away from age, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. So she ends up continuing on with her adventures, just going through and kind of living out the life and doing the things that she promised some of her friends, visiting them as they got older and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really nice anime. I heard so many good things about it from, you know, other friends. And yeah, it's mostly sort of like a fantasy adventure anime. There's some humor to it as well, which is really nice, but it's mostly, you know, fantastical and magical and all that sort of stuff. You see dragons and other monsters, and we come across some new friends as she adventures on, and she ends up adopting a apprentice to teach her some magic, to also to be a mage as well, a powerful mage just like her. But yeah, Free Ren, so far I'm only up to episode 8, and I think it's about 26 or 28 episodes. I think it is 29 episodes. So it's a short run, but it's actually really good. I really like it. I don't know if they're going to be continuing on with extra episodes. We'll see how that goes. But at this particular point in time, that is all we've got, and I'm really enjoying it. And the last thing I want to talk about is a musical that I watched on YouTube. And it is by Team Star Kid. I don't know if you guys have heard of them.
Yes.
Yes. I watched The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
Oh.
Yes. It's a comedy. It's kind of very sort of like apocalyptic-ish, but where, you know, people are got these like, I don't know what it is. It's like they all of a sudden start singing, and it means they've become the zombie of musicals, you know. and this one guy just hates musicals. He doesn't like hearing them. He doesn't like seeing them. He gets anxious around people who just burst out into song, and it's just chaos on stage. So I enjoyed my time with the guy who didn't like musicals. Apparently, there's a trilogy to this particular musical, where this is the first one. The next one is called Black Friday. You can only imagine what that one's going to be about. And yeah, it's actually quite fun. I really enjoyed it. I was watching it as a recommendation from one of my fellow co-hosts over at Carpool Gaming, who, you know, had no one else to talk to in regards to you know, these musicals, and because no one else had watched them, you know. And I think the one after Black Friday is Nerdy Prudes Must Die. I think it is.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah, so that's part of that like little trilogy there, and it's just it's pretty funny. I kind of like what I've seen so far, and I'm planning on watching the rest of them. They've got a new musical coming out very soon called Cinderella's Castle, and that looks really cool as well. So Team Star Kid is like a kind of like community theater, but in America. So it's like a very well staged show, and yeah, it just looks like they're having a good fun time. So I kind of like the fact that they're uploading the shows onto their YouTube channel for others to watch, which is really awesome. You know, obviously not everybody can make it to these shows, so it's really nice to see that they've, you know, professionally filmed them and put them up onto their YouTube channel. So yeah, definitely go check out Team Star Kid if you're into you know, your comedy musicals and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely worth checking out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Thanks,
that's what I've
Fulya.
been watching. Yeah.
Excellent. Mike, what have you been watching?
Well, I haven't been watching much because I'm trying to get a bit more creative, so I've been doing a lot of writing. But I've also been still watching some Pokemon with the kids, and it's rejuvenized me to get back into Pokemon, really, because I'm a basic person. I nerd 151, but I did something silly, and I bought myself an encyclopedia.
Oh.
So
Wow, you're really getting into it now.
yeah, well, just because I buy a book doesn't mean I'm into it. It's to help me and my daughter, because we're watching Pokemon Horizons as well as watching original ones. And Horizons is pretty good because it's essentially it's a reboot of the entire thing, and we're slowly introduced to the Pokemon again. So that's been pretty good, and no Ash to speak of. So we can't have a 10-year-old that's been 10-year-old for over 25 years. So, you know, this isn't Bart Simpson anymore. So I really actually really enjoying it, and yeah, just every time I come home from work, I say, "Hey kids, want to watch Pokemon? Yay, Pokemon!" Yeah, so got all of them and been watching this. Okay, what's that one? What's that one? I know that one. Jinx. I know Jinx.
Jinx.
Wait.
Nice.
When did Jinx have purple skin? Anyway. Yeah, so I've been doing the Pokemon stuff. But the other thing that I've been watching, and I'm happy that I now will be able to talk to someone about it, is the new Daredevil. I really like this episode. One of my criticisms is I can sort of see the seams of what was originally shot and what was reshot. Some of the things is sort of didn't really match up all too well, and I could sort of see. But otherwise, yeah, it was a great episode of the psyche of Matt Murdock and what he's been dealing with, and I really appreciate that they changed it a bit to actually get Frank Castle back in, because Matt Murdock needed someone to talk to, basically, and unfortunately it was Frank, because he doesn't have his support group. He doesn't have Karen, who's over in the other side of America. Doesn't have for a Catholic, he doesn't have communion. He doesn't have confession, so he can't really explain. I've been doing this, so because since third season, spoiler alert, the someone dies. So he had no one to like divulge to get like some answers, and unfortunately that was solely what Frank was, just to get him out of that funk. And and just the polar opposites of their chemistry as well is fantastic, because we haven't seen these characters or these actors interacting for over like 7 years or something. And as I'm a new person into this, I could appreciate that people were really like moved, and I've been watching a lot of people watch that particular scene, and yeah, it affected me pretty well. I started bawling up, and it's like it's and I'm getting a bit misty-eyed just thinking about it right now. Yeah, and finally, next episode we'll probably see him back into the fray, back into the costume, because because we need a daredevil, and also Fisk is hiding what he is really. It's like, did he change? No, not at all.
No.
So that's been basically my week. What about you, Kendall? Just to bat it over.
Yeah. I'll start with Born Again then, as a good segue. Yes. Good episode. That Frank Castle scene was excellent. I need to really shout out both John Bernthal and Charlie Cox for that scene. Because their performances were insane. Especially just seeing Matt Murdock begin to crumble finally. Like, he's around someone that he feels like he can break a bit and be a bit vulnerable with, because it's gotten to a point where it's too much. He's like, I'm talking to Frank Castle now, because like you said, Mike, he has no one else really that he can kind of confide this in. Like, Frank knows both sides. He can't go to his new girlfriend because his new girlfriend doesn't know who he really is and
no one
was
really, except his investigator, really. But he wasn't there from the beginning, really.
No, he doesn't know everything, and Frank is, the oldest person in his circle that's been around, going back a bit now. So that was just wild to see, and like the fact that like I just loved hearing Frank call him Red again. I'm like, that's good. That's the sweet spot. But just that, and just like, and Frank pushing him to say the name of a character I won't mention because spoilers. And Matt couldn't even do that, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. So it was amazing. The Fisk storyline's interesting with his, now that he's in office as the mayor, and what he's trying to get done, and balance that fine line between who he really is and who he's projecting to the world. And the way things have turned with Vanessa is a bit unexpected for the season, but we talked about it last week as well. So but no, it's great. It's great television. It's great watching. We're now starting to see bits of Muse, the other villain that they're introducing, that I'm so excited to see more of because he looks fucked up as all fuck, like they promised. So I'm here for it. Yeah. So Daredevil Born Again is just, yeah, it's quality television. Quality television, and another MCU f bomb. So, boom. And from
Yeah,
a
there's
little
a lot
girl
of that.
too.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I want to mention quickly Michael Gandolfini as well
Mm.
in Daredevil. Yeah, I'm interested to see where his character goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like he's playing his own game. Like I don't think he's as dumb as he's
No.
letting on. So I'm kind of curious to see where he goes. Yeah, it's good stuff. The other things I'll mention, yeah, I started watching Invincible season 3.
Woo!
Yay. Only the first 2 episodes, but they were 2 fantastic episodes. Yeah, was immediately kind of. I just haven't had time to go back and watch anymore. But I'm like so in already. Like it's just they didn't skip a beat, they didn't miss a beat, and now what's his name? What's Invincible's real name? Mark. Thank you, Mark. Mark and Cecil
Think,
are at
Mark.
odds.
Think.
Mark. Yes. Mark and Cecil are at odds with each other, and they've split up the Guardians a bit, and that's interesting. And certain characters have revealed themselves not to be dead, and I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid. But fine. Yeah, but it's really, really good. I can't wait to see where it's headed because it's just awesome. It's just awesome. And Mark and Eve, yay! I don't really care. I'm not watching Invincible for the shipping. I'm watching Invincible for good, fucked up superhero shit, which is what we're getting. So, it's a good time. And the last thing I'll mention that I watched was I sat down with the boyfriend during the week and we watched The Electric State. Crickets. The new Netflix movie from the Russo brothers and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, are the writers of the script. This movie had a budget, reportedly, of $320 million. It is one of the most expensive movies ever made. It is the most expensive Netflix production ever put to the streamer. And I'm annoyed about it because it wasn't a great movie. It had everything working for it. And directors and screenwriters that have proven their mettle time and time again. A good cast in Chris Pratt, Keiko Kwan's in this, Millie Bobby Brown, of course, and Stanley Tucci. And then you've got some cameos sprinkled throughout as well, which were just random and surprising. And Anthony Mackie does the voice of Chris Pratt's sidekick robot, which I didn't recognize his voice because they digitally altered it to sound a little different. But I was like, he was good. He was the best part of the movie. The robots were the best part of the movie. The humans, not so much. The movie looks amazing, so you can see the money on the screen. The way they've used CGI, the visual effects, it's impeccable. Big fucking tick. The world building is great. It's fascinating. So basically, it's set in the 90s, in an alternate 90s, where there's been a war between man and machine, not unlike Terminator, I guess, but in a more kid-friendly way. Whereas these robots were created by Walt Disney in the 50s, and then they eventually became sentient and rose up against humans because they didn't want to be slaves anymore. Sound familiar? So
Westworld.
there was sort of a civil war that happened, and then Stanley Tucci's character comes along and invents this technology that ends up letting humans fight as robots, in these centuries, and Yeah, and then that ended up being the way of life after the war, was like humans strapped into these headsets and not paying attention. Like splitting, they were splitting their work life, and they're similar to Severance in a way of like, except they're wearing a headset. They can be in one place, but they're also somewhere else.
Spoilers.
And they're spoilers for Electric State, but not really. It's in the trailers. Anyway, it's fine. So yes, so that's the general premise, and there's other stuff I won't go into, but yeah, it just, they didn't really develop the characters enough. Ki Hoi Kwan was basically, Doctor Exposition in this movie. He didn't have much to do other than further the plot. Chris Pratt basically played Chris Pratt, like he's starting to do, and he said that he's realizing I kind of am playing similar characters in every movie I'm in now. So yeah, so they could have done a lot more. There was some interesting stuff, and I don't know. And it was probably, and I love Millie Bobby Brown, and I've seen all of Stranger Things, and I've seen both the Enola Holmes films. She's a great actress. This is probably her least performance, but I may not blame her entirely for that. I might just blame the script, which again makes me sad because it's fucking Marcus and McFeely who gave us Captain fucking America, like those movies. They gave us Infinity War and Endgame, and then they've adapted this graphic novel. It's based on a graphic novel, and it was very subpar. So yeah, so if you're looking for a decent time, like leave your brain at the door, popcorn adventure with a bit of sci-fi in there, it's worth checking out because again, it does look really good. Giancarlo Esposito's in there as well, so that's fun. But yeah, it's fine. It's as Kevin Smith would say, it's a bit mid. But yeah, it's not the worst movie. I think the Rotten Tomato scores are not accurate, so don't look at the Rotten Tomato score, because it's way better than what they're saying. But it's just a bit of a missed opportunity, really. A little disappointing. From
That's a
such
shame.
such high quality filmmakers. I'm confused as to why this movie isn't better. So, oh well. They could have made like 6 independent films with that budget, but here we are. All right, that's my rambling about the Electric State. Take it as you will. Everyone has their own opinion. I'm happy to be added at in the comments. But for now, that means the weekly watchings are done, which means it's time for the nerdy news.
This is the news, the nerdy news. The nerds that talk about the nerdy news. That is us who talk about the news that is nerdy. And now the queen of nerdydom, the hostess with mostess, Kendall Richardson. Take it away, Kendall.
I like these afternoon shows. I'm all bubbly.
Yes.
Going hard over there.
Not dragging our feet anymore. It's nice. Okay, friends. Time for the nerdy news, and first up on the docket, we've got some news for the new Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat 2, coming out later this year, of course. If what I can remember correctly, we all watched the first movie and we kind of enjoyed it.
Yep.
Like it was fine. It was better than expected, right?
Yes.
That's for sure. Yeah, and it was really cool to see that they decided to go for a sequel because, they kind of really did a good job of setting that up and leading into it and teasing new characters coming in. And so now we're finally starting to get a look at what these new characters are going to be like. And of course, the biggest one is the one and only Johnny Cage, who is going to be played by Carl Urban, of The Boys and Lord of the Rings and Star Trek fame. I think he looks great in this first photo. Look at him. Doing I don't really know too much about Mortal Kombat, but from what I can see, it looks very on brand for the character from what I know. He looks the part. So I think this is going to be a fun role for him. And I remember when they announced this casting, and I think we talked about it on the show, and we all kind of expressed our delight at this. But interestingly enough, the internet seems to be divided on Carl Urban as Johnny Cage now, which I'm like, but you guys have known the whole time, right? That he was. Anyway, people don't read; they need to see photos. Yeah, people have a problem with his age. They think he's too old to play this character. I have not an opinion in the world on this. I just again remember when he was announced, thinking this makes all the sense in the world for him to play this kind of a character. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm okay with it, but I'm sure some of the purists out there are a bit. They could have got someone younger, like Glenn Powell, or I don't know, someone else. I read a whole list of complaints and names, and Glenn Powell's the only one I can remember. But anyway, it's fine.
Tom Holland.
No, too young. Yes, that's too much far in the other direction. But yes, we also got our first look at some other characters. Katana, played by Adeline Rudolph. We've got Shao Kahn, played by Martin Ford as well. And a nice photo of the returning Scorpion, played by Hiroyuki Sanada, recent SAG winner, Golden Globe winner, I believe. Yes, for Shogun. Yes, so really cool, these photos, to finally see something coming out of this movie. The other cool thing is that they've also revealed some other characters that are going to be in this movie. And because it was filmed here in Australia, we've got Australian cast. So Damon Herriman, who's a kind of a prolific Australian character actor. Most recently, he was in Better Man. He's going to be playing Quan Chi in Mortal Kombat 2. But here's the kicker. This made me laugh. Apparently, Kano and Kung Lao are returning, despite the fact that they both died in the first film. So basically, they have explained that if you've played the games, apparently you'll know that they play a bit fast and loose with the alive versus dead status of some characters. So anything's kind of possible. So they're kind of taking that into the film and saying we deal with spirits and the nether realm and things like that. So there are always ways to bring these dead characters back to life, which makes me happy because I liked Kano and I like Josh Lawson. So I'm totally okay with this news as well. And then we've also got just some final casting here. Tati Gabrielle is going to be playing Jade, and Anna Tu Nguyen is going to be playing Queen Sindel. I don't know who either of those characters are, but I can't wait to see them in this movie. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the Mortal Kombat news we have. I can't wait. October, it's coming out. It's only a few months away. 6 months or so to go. Fulya, are you keen? Does any of the photos excite you? How are you feeling about Mortal Kombat 2 at this point?
Look, I actually, had fun watching the first one. So, as bloody and gory as it was, I'm a fan of the franchise. I haven't really played Mortal Kombat in a while though, so I'm not quite sure what the characters are like now. However, I do recognize a lot of the character names. Your Sonya Blades, your Jax, the who else was there? Katana,
Shaka Khan.
Jade, and of course Scorpion. Look, I'm looking forward to this. I think Carl Urban can pull off a good Johnny Cage, I would say. There is a little bit of resemblance. I can definitely see him like looking the part. So just by kind of comparing the live action to the actual character image, I think they've got him down pat. Just depends on the writing of the script and how his acting chops are going to compare when he jumps into this role. So we'll see, once the film is ready to go, and hopefully we'll see a trailer soon, considering the fact that this movie will be, it's expected to come out this year in October sometime. So I'm really curious to see where this particular story is heading. So yeah, no, I'm look. It's a leave your brain at the door kind of a popcorn movie, just full action, little bit of sci-fi fantasy kind of drama happening. There'll be some comedic relief there for sure. But nah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good to hear. What about you? How you? Yeah, all the Mortal 2 stuff going on.
Yeah, pretty good. Considering my wife really likes the first one. And she's and I just showed her the pictures. Like, ooh, we're going to see it. We're going to get babysitter and we're going to see it. And it's like, okay. I like it that you like it more than me. Something nerdy. Makes
Yeah.
a change. It's like I did like the first one. I mean, it's got its problems. None of which I can voice to my wife. Otherwise, she said, "Shut up." Anyway, yeah, I'm happy that people are coming back, as well as it's filmed in Australia. So Australia gets the dollars, yay! And yeah, and the Carl Urban thing, people were a bit upset that it's like, oh, do we have to do the Johnny Cage as a washed up Hollywood star guy? And it's like, yeah. Well, we haven't done that before. If you count the other movies, Johnny was a young man. Johnny was a young man, and he was that character. So we're just gonna, tweak him a bit. He's gonna be like older Hollywood. Yeah, I'm more than happy. So this is coming out in October. So yay, something to do on October.
Yeah. Something to put in your calendar already for that month, besides Halloween. Yes. Cool. Our next bit of news is pretty exciting, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up about this. Because apparently, the movie we were talking about for a bit, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. Coyote versus Acme. This was one of David Zaslav's takeover of Warner Brothers Axe movies that he got rid of, along with Batgirl and some others. They filmed this, they finished this, it was ready to go, and they decided not to proceed. And it made a lot of people really upset because it sounds like it would have been a really good movie. And as it turns out, we might actually still be able to see it in the cinema. Because at the moment, there is a Los Angeles-based independent film production company that goes by the name of Ketchup Entertainment. They are in apparently, quote-unquote, deep in sale negotiations with Warner Brothers, I believe, to actually save the movie and get it distributed across the world. So the deal is not anywhere close to being finished at this stage, but if they are successful, we'll see it next year in the cinema. So it's really, really awesome. They've already saved one other film of Warner Brothers note, which was The Day the Earth Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie, which I haven't checked out, but apparently it was a very, very cool film. The first fully animated Looney Tunes movie to get a cinema release, because most of them just go straight to video, unless you've got, live action stars in it, like a Space Jam or a Treasure Island, whatnot. But yeah, so they've got a precedent for having success with this, and some other things they put together include the recent Hellboy movie, The Crooked Man, which apparently wasn't too bad, according to some things on the internet. They also distributed the Robert Rodriguez from a couple of years back, and they also co-produced Adam Driver's Ferrari biopic that he was in last year. So, yeah, So they've got some skin in the game. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope that we'll actually get to go to the movies and watch this film, or see it on some kind of streaming service here, depending on what the international distribution is, if we are successful. But yeah, I hope we get to see it. I want to watch it. I really want to watch it. And I'm sure you guys are interested as well. Fulya, um, are you feeling hopeful about this news, or are you just like, I'll see what happens?
I'm more of a like I'll see what happens boat, just because I don't know whether these negotiations will actually go ahead, whether it's going to be successful or not. I want to be hopeful. I really do, but I at the same time I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and then be disappointed by the end of it and be like, oh, so we're not going to see it anyway. Um, so in this instance, I'll just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. And if we do get the opportunity to watch it, however it is, whether it's in cinema or on a streaming service, I will be there. And that is how I feel.
Excellent. I like it. Thank you very much. Mike, I know you were a big champion of this film when the news was breaking that it was going to be scrapped. How does this news make you feel?
I'm optimistic because we've sort of been down this road before of a bidding war for it, and then Warner Brothers was asking for too much. So, but they've reduced their asking price, so that's good. And with the catch-up entertainment, tomato sauce if you're Australian, with the Earth that blew up, apparently that's been released in America, and people are actually quite like it. Like it. Unfortunately, because it's such a small studio, like distributing it, there wasn't really much promotion stuff for it. It's very word of mouth, but there's sort of a big push for people to actually see it, especially on online. For the people who are really like gung ho of saying we need more 2D animation movies because everything's going to be in 3D and stuff, and with and apparently it's going pretty good. It's been released in Australia like later on, and I really want to go see it. And yeah, because of that, they're saying, oh, why don't we get the Coyote one? And that's more known over the internets because of the history behind it, with Warner Brothers scrapping it for parts and for tax write-off. But I'm happy for that because Will Forte is actually in this, and he has made it very clear that he's really angry.
Yeah.
Like, no holds bars. Like, yeah, I'm really pissed off with this because people have worked really hard for it, and just to say, nah, it's a waste of time. Yeah, so hopefully I do it for them, because I quite like Will Forte, and just seeing the picture of him with Wiley, I was more excited to watch this instead of Space Jam, like Space Jam 2, because that is what it is. It's basically just Warner Brothers saying, see all the IP that we got? Oh yeah, this is also a Looney Tunes adventure as well. Who cares? So more Looney Tunes stuff, because I've missed them, because I always enjoyed the Looney Tunes. It's crazy, it's Zuni, it's all together loony, and I can't wait. And so yeah, I'm optimistic optimistic with this because tides are slightly turning. But I won't be happy until I'm actually sitting in the cinema watching this with my kids. Maybe a year older because it's coming out next year. Maybe. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay. Our last bit of news to talk about this week is a couple of renewals for some shows. One is one of the biggest shows on TV at the moment, and the other is a show that hasn't even premiered yet. So, of course, Severance had a big finale on Friday for season 2. I still haven't watched it. Planning on watching it after the podcast, so I'm very excited. Because it's just fucking amazing. So I'm really happy to see that it's gotten a season 3 renewal already. That's a no-brainer. Apple would have been stupid to give it the flick, because it's their biggest show, as I've probably said before on this pod. It's the one that most people have watched, more than Ted Lasso and more than Shrinking, which is hectic considering how well reviewed those shows are. So yeah, but Severance is great, so I'm very excited about that. But the other show that is apparently getting a second season is the upcoming adaptation by Amazon of God of War. They are in the middle of pre-production for the show period. There's a writer's room headed by the legendary Rob D. Moore, who gave us Battlestar Galactica. He worked on Star Trek. He's worked on Outlander. He created that. So he's got some good cred. And when they announced him as the replacement last year, I was very excited because he wasn't the original showrunner. But he was interviewed during the week and talking about what he's working on, and he just, without any, apropos of nothing, was just like, we're doing 2 seasons. Amazon has ordered 2 seasons. This wasn't common knowledge. We only assumed that they'd ordered 1. So Amazon has officially ordered 2 seasons of this show, so they've got a lot of confidence in it, I guess, which is really cool. And maybe this is following the success of Fallout for them. That was a hugely successful game adaptation last year. So, if they've got someone like Ronald D. Moore working on this, and maybe the other writers that they've brought in are also quite good. I don't think they've announced any casting at this point. It's so early in the development. We're probably not going to get to see the first season of this until probably late next year, is my guess. Who knows? As long as it doesn't interfere with another certain fantasy show I won't name because I'll start talking about it, then that's fine.
Fallout.
Yeah, really cool. Fallout, yeah. Yeah, that's the show I meant. Yeah, but this is great. This is really cool to see some awesome genre television, some good quality shows being given a chance, especially on streaming. So, yeah, I can't wait to watch the God of War series because everyone was telling me how good the last 2 games in the series were. So I can't wait to see the actual. I mean, who would have thought we'd be living in a world where video game adaptations would actually be damn good? It's just who would have thought? They finally figured out how to do it.
They found the formula.
They found the formula. Yes. Fulya, any comments on either of these renewal announcements?
So I haven't watched Severance, but I hear so many good things about it. But I'm not quite sure that I'd be that interested in watching it.
I don't think it's your kind of show. No.
Yeah, I don't think it would be.
It's very good, but yeah, I don't think it's very much in your house.
No,
personally.
Yeah. But I will say, the God of War series definitely intrigues me. After playing through, the 2018 one, and look, I'm not really high up on it and the way that everybody else has been. But I still enjoyed it from when I played it. I'd still be keen to actually watch this God of War series because, in all honesty, I think the cutscenes in the game itself were pretty good. And, the overall story was interesting as well. So definitely would be keen to check out God of War the show. And I can definitely see it being done very well. And I think if Amazon can do a good job the way they did it with Fallout, I think this particular show will probably be high praise by a lot of fans of the genre of the actual franchise itself, especially a lot of gamers who are lately just loving these game adaptation shows. The Last of Us, Fallout. They're really loving seeing that. So God of War would definitely be up there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Horizon Zero Dawn show in the works, because that's also a very good game. But going back to God of War and the fact that it's 2 seasons already, they're so confident that they're giving them 2 seasons. I have a feeling it has something to do with the fact that the first one's going to be the 2018 game, the first season, and then the second one's going to be Ragnarok. So potentially, if that's where they're going to go. But if they feel like they can stretch it out even longer, then who knows? Like, it might go for a little bit longer, but I feel like the episodes per season might be about maybe 10 per season, because I'd say the episodes are probably going to be between 50 minutes to an hour. I would probably gander a guess. I mean, it could be like the usual 45 to 50 minute, but I feel like they could maybe make it a 50 to 55 minute episode. Who knows? But yeah, no, I'd be keen to check out God of War, the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So remember that, folks. It'll be popcorn culture when it comes out.
God damn.
We're all gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it? Alright, cool.
If Fully is in on a fucking hardcore adaptation with violence, yes.
Hey, I
Yeah.
played the first game, so
Exactly.
I know what to expect.
But judging by Mike's face, maybe he doesn't want to. Mike, tell us your
Fallout
thoughts
is
on
just
this-
there. Last of Us is right there. But
I-
no.
Haven't played those games, so I don't have any interest in them.
Neither have I. Up to a point. Actually, no, that's
Mike,
a
your
lie.
thoughts on the news here?
I dabbled. I also dabbled in. Yes, I'll talk as well. Sorry. Yeah. I dabbled in God of War 2. I got a copy of the first one, and I had a little play with it. A lot of finding chests. It's like, this is the mecha cat. This is
A lot of
mechanic.
collectibles, yeah.
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 It's like Banjo-Kazooie. Because you're the bear and the boy is Kazooie.
Boy.
Boy. Yeah. What it feels like is with God of War of having 2 seasons, they probably have enough material to maybe stretch it out to 2 and see what happens. And they said, well, you can do it in 2 seasons. It's like having a movie and just banking on the fact that people are very interested in it, and it seems like people are to actually watch the first season as well as the second season. It's kind of like what they sort of did with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. They said, we got enough stuff here, we're going to do what we can and see what happens. And yeah, I suppose if we're going to like set in stone of doing this for a popcorn culture, yeah, maybe. It probably incentivize me to actually intentivize. That's not a word. Make me finish the first game. I was actually I sort of bought a collection of that as well as the Uncharted series as well. Like I think I haven't got 4. I can't remember. I've got the first 3 that came in a bundle, and yeah, so because
The Nathan Drake collection?
yeah, the Nathan Drake That guy.
Yeah.
Nolan North. Clearly Nolan North. The first game I played with him as the protagonist was the Deadpool Deadpool game, because he plays Deadpool in that, which is fun, I guess. I haven't gone back to it because you got up to the round robin of actually the last bit where just constant barrage of villains just coming out. It's like, oh my god, this is so tough. Why is it so tough? It's stupidly tough. And I've never picked it up ever since. It's like, fuck it. It's too hard. I want to enjoy myself, not spend grueling hours. Anyway, God of War. Can't wait.
Yes.
Well, take it or leave it, but I'm happy that people are happy. Severance.
Yeah.
It's one of my anticipated ones to watch. Cool, there's a third one, so that means whatever. So yeah, I can't really talk about it too much, and I'm done.
Great. That's okay. My final note on that I forgot to mention is I hope there's not 3 years between seasons now.
For Severance.
Because there was 3 years between the 2 seasons. So, but thankfully, hopefully there isn't another writer's strike, because that was part of the reason it got delayed. It was because of the writer's strike. So,
I'm sort of coming around to this new system of having periods of time, because then you can watch other stuff. There's always other stuff.
True. There is always other stuff to watch, and you can appreciate the absence of your show while it takes 500 millennia to return to your screen.
It's like Invincible.
Yeah.
Like first episode coming in is like, oh yeah, this is where we are. Hit the ground running.
Yeah. So good. All right. That's the nerdy news done, which means it's time to roll on up to the trailer park.
Rolling up to the trailer park where we all park all the trailers. Hee-ha.
Okay, it's trailer park time, and our first trailer. The very highly anticipated that we don't need, but it's happening anyway. Happy Gilmore 2. We got a first proper teaser trailer this week that showed us a lot more than what the little mini teaser we got a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm interested. I'll watch it. You know, I love the original movie. It's my favorite Adam Sandler movie. You know, I still quote it with some of my friends to this day. You know, it's just fantastic. So yeah, it's definitely not going to meet the heights of the original. And that's fine. I don't think it's there to do that. I think it's just, you know, it's there to, you know, give people a reminder of Adam Sandler's heyday, I guess. I don't know, or just like, you know, what would happen if Happy Gilmore was 30 years older and, you know, had a family and you know, had to pick up the golf club again and go back out on the green. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the character and what the story is. They didn't really reveal too much of the story, which is fine. Didn't really get, I think, well, there was one shot of Shooter McGavin in this trailer, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced it'll be good, but hey, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. Yes, that's basically all I have to say on that. Fulya, what did you think of the teaser for Happy Gilmore 2?
I need to go back and watch the first one. It's been a very long time since I watched it. I want to see whether or not adult me will actually still enjoy the movie. But yeah, I don't know. Like this second trailer, it looks like it's going to be fun, but the fact that, you know, Happy Gilmore is like, nah, I need to make this a bit more family friendly now, or age appropriate, as he mentions, as he
Yeah,
quotes.
I got that vibe too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, considering that Happy Gilmore probably wouldn't have aged well, considering a lot of the stuff that's been mentioned in that movie, I feel like they really had to PC this up, as much as possible. But we'll see how we go. It's good to see some familiar faces returning to the film, and I think it's just gonna be one of those again. Just turn your brain off, just have fun, enjoy your popcorn, and just have a laugh kind of a movie. So we'll see. I might end up watching it, but who knows? I'm not as excited for a second Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, fair call. Thank you, Fulya. What about you feeling about this?
Happy Gilmore. I don't know. It didn't really because first time listening to it, it's like, oh, they can go down like the Cobra Kai sort of thing, where if and it feels like what they're doing is Happy is sort of defending his title, because if you remember the ending, it was an interfered shot, so therefore he didn't particularly win. And I don't know, maybe they're going down that route, as well as I was having a look at the cast list, and yeah, and that they got that oh, sorry, names to faces, yeah, Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley, the younger Debbie Moore from The Substance. It's like, oh, she's like top billing in this. It's like, what on IMDb? It's like, and it was like, how old is she? And she was born in 1994. Could this be unfortunately coming to America too, where it's sort of passing the torch thing, and Happy's got a kid. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen here, because I'm in two minds. If it's like I'm interested in to watch this, but it is a Netflix movie, and
Yeah.
Electric State. Yeah, could be good, but unfortunately, Netflix movies is that came and went. Do we remember? No, not really. That's what it goes for all Netflix movies. They don't really overstay their welcome. So, yeah. Ben Stiller's in it. That's good. So when is this coming out, Kendall?
Yes. Well, Happy Gilmore 2, Netflix on the 25th of July. So a whiles away.
Too
But it'll
far.
be here before we know it. Far. All right, moving on to our second trailer, and this is a film that I've been keeping an eye on for a hot minute. This is Materialists, starring Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal. Tick, tick, tick. Great cast. The other tick I have is for the director, and that is Celine Song, who was Oscar nominated, or Oscar, I can't remember if she won or not, but she was nominated for her film Past Lives last year, and it's one of the best romantic dramas I've ever seen, period. I definitely would have talked about it on the podcast before, because it's just phenomenal. I'm just trying to find out where the Where's the awards part of the IMDb badge? Fucking, there it is. Nominated for 2 Oscars. Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. Past Lives, go watch it. But Celine Song is here working on this film, and yeah, so that has me excited. But also the cast is just great. And the story is kind of interesting because Dakota Johnson is playing this sort of matchmaker character who's setting all these people up that she thinks are compatible and whatnot, and then of course the romance comes into her own life. And yeah, haven't really seen Pedro Pascal do many play many romantic leads at this point. Like, he's obviously done on-screen romance before, but like he's never really, like, that's not really what he's known for. So it's kind of cool to see him do something a little different. And that'll be fun to watch. Chris Evans, though, I'm excited to see his performance as well, especially considering he's like the guy that was there the whole time. That they could have ended up together and maybe he missed his shot. So there's gonna be a lot of angst from him in this, I think. So yeah, I'm here for the love triangle. I can't wait to see the memes. I can't wait to see the fan art from this. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I think it'll be a really good movie and like a really maybe poignant sort of love story. That's kind of not your traditional cliched romantic film. So I'm interested in checking out Materialists. What about you, Fulya?
I am actually like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I do love my rom-coms and romantic dramas. And this one actually has me very intrigued. I'm curious about this particular story. Like you, Kendall, I was not expecting to see Pedro Pascal pop up into this because I'm like, oh, he's not doing any action. This is just purely just drama and romance and relationships. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see how this works out. And oh boy, do we get some heated scenes, especially just seeing this trailer. That's going to take his Zaddy title up a notch. And then seeing Chris Evans, I'm like, I don't think I've seen Chris Evans in a lot of like these type of romantic dramas either. I've mostly known him for doing a lot more of the actions and the adventure type, and the knives out of it all.
Yeah, well, he did rom-coms early before he was Captain America.
Right. That's probably the time that I didn't know him.
Yeah, that's kind of what he was known for, doing B-grade action films and rom-coms and
okay. I might have to look into his IMDb and see what else he's been in and go and track them down.
You should watch. If you like rom-coms and you want to see Chris Evans, watch What's Your Number?
What's Your Number?
What's Your Number? It's him and Anna Faris.
Ooh, okay.
I recommend. It's very good.
All right. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Definitely, we'll check that one out if I can find it. But yeah, no, Materialists. I'm not one for A24 films, but for whatever reason, this particular movie just looks nice. And it's like just very, the cinematography looks really cool. And the story is just intriguing. This matchmaker all of a sudden gets into a love triangle, and who's she gonna choose? I feel like she'll go with the Chris Evans character. It's kind of obvious. If Pedro Pascal's playing the rich man here, then you've got the Chris Evans who's like the I've been here the whole time guy, as you said, Kendall. I feel like she's gonna end up breaking Pedro's heart and going to Chris.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how she like either leans into expectations or subverts them. Like what she does in terms, because you're right, it is very, the way the trailer is edited is quite obvious. It feels that she'll pick Chris Evans. They seem to have
not to mention the fact that a ring has been brought into the picture. So
yeah.
I don't know where that's gonna go and who that rings from, so we'll see.
We shall indeed.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for your thoughts. That was great. Mike, does
Yes,
this look like a date night movie for you and the wife?
it does, but A24 doesn't seem like their forte of doing like a rom-com.
Well, I'm pretty sure Past Lives was an A24 production as well.
Yeah,
So
could be something more to it. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out that Pedro Pascal is actually a serial killer or something. I don't know. It's got to be something. It can't be that simple. Of yeah, she's going to be with the Chris Evans character John. Apparently, Lucy, John, and Harry.
Great. Good names.
Yeah, it's too simple. There's got to be something else because you can't just have, Madam Web with Mr. Fantastic and Johnny Storm playing Johnny. Maybe it's a Marvel film in disguise. Yeah,
Maybe.
it would be something to watch with the wife for a date night. I don't normally go for like rom-coms or anything like that because it's not my thing to go for. But having these actors in it, it's a maybe. It's a maybe from me. So when am I maybe going to be seeing this, Kendall?
You will maybe, and us definitely, checking out Materialists on the 12th of June.
Lovely.
All right. Our third and final trailer this week is our first kind of full story trailer for the upcoming Disney Pixar film Elio. I'm interested in this. I mean, part of that's to do with the fact that, like, it's space, it's sci-fi. Elio wants to, meet aliens and go into space, and it looks like his mum works for like a NASA equivalent or Air Force or something.
I was gonna say it looked very military.
Yeah, it's probably Air Force. Which is cool. And yeah, and it kind of seems like a a meeting of two worlds because Elio obviously ends up in space after he contacts some aliens, and then gets involved in some conflict there, and some hijinks are going to ensue in this one. But I thought it was really cute. Like the animation was fine. Like I know Pixar's, probably the most famous animation studio house in the world. But there wasn't anything in here that kind of made me go, oh, fucking fantastic. So I don't know if they've gone for a slightly more, I don't know, unrealistic approach because, like, you take a film like Luca, that just recreated Italy, like a really cool way. Like, some of it just looked so picturesque and so beautiful. But here, obviously, you're dealing with alien environments, alien worlds, alien creatures, so they can, I don't know, be a bit more, I guess, creative in that sense. And so things are going to look a bit out of this world, a bit unrealistic. So, but it looks fun. It's colorful. It's bright. It's playful. Elio seems like a really wholesome little guy that I look forward to meeting. And he's I've forgotten the name of the other kid alien that he kind of befriends.
Glorden?
Sorry?
I think it's Glorden.
Glorden, that's right, Glorden. Yes. Yeah, he was cool. As well. And my favorite my favorite part of the trailer was right at the end when like they were stuck and Gordon's like, get in my mouth, you've got no choice, basically. And he like opens his mouth and he's this massive thing with like rows upon rows of teeth, right?
Yep.
And Elio doesn't want to get in, and he gets in, and then he's like, it's kind of comfy and soft in here. And then Gordon's just like, oh really? I've never been inside.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that was just great. That was just great comedy. I thought that was I thought it was very cute, very funny, and wholesome again. So yeah, so this was a good looking Disney film, and I expect it to get an Oscar nomination probably, depending on its reception. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm interested. Oh, Fulya.
Interested in the Disney movie.
No,
That's 2
interested,
weeks in a row, man.
interested in a Pixar movie. It's not the same.
2 weeks
Well,
in a row. 2 weeks in a row. They're
It's
getting
an
me.
animated film, all right. I'll take it.
Yeah, I know. Definitely take it with me on an animated film. Fulya, our
Yes.
resident Disney obsessive, please tell us how you feel after watching this trailer.
So I actually had a smile on my face watching this particular trailer. Like I was kind of giggling at a lot of the scenes. But at the same time, I kind of felt for Elio because he's the character that doesn't feel like he belongs on Earth, and that's why he's wants to be abducted by aliens. Which kind of makes me feel a bit sad for him because it means he obviously has a bit of a social anxiety thing where he just has a hard time making friends, but he's obsessed with space and aliens but it's really interesting that they're going to be telling this story. I'm kind of wondering if there is like an underlying message of it's okay to feel like you're out of place, but you'll find a way, you'll find your people in some way. And like I'm just really intrigued by the environments, like especially the space environment, is when Elio is abducted and ends up in space. And yeah, the alien characters look fun. I heard a very familiar voice, and it was Brad Garrett.
I recognized him too.
Lord Grygon. He seems like an interesting character. He's not going to be very happy when he sees a human in over there. But by the looks of things, it looks like a couple of alien planets are kind of against each other. By the sounds of things, just from what I could tell from the trailer, and it looks like Alio's there to help bring them together in some sort of peaceful way, and it's really cute. I kind of liked when Elio and Glorgon kind of towards the end of the trailer, they tried to make it as if that Elio had kidnapped Glorgon, which is Lord Grygon's kid, I suppose. And just the line that he gives is pretty much, I'm a bargaining chip. And Elio's like, no, not that one. I kind of like that. It's kind of cute. But yeah, I had a smile on my face watching this particular trailer, and I feel like this whole movie is just going to be very wholesome and heartwarming, just throughout. So I am very much looking forward to actually watching this when this is available.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Who is?
Who is? Honestly,
It's me.
it's great. All right, Mike. What are your thoughts on the trailer for Elio?
It looks pretty cute. I like the sort of obvious comparisons, E.T., but it's put on its head, where Elliot goes up in space. And yeah, it does feel like it is going to be the story of trying to fit in, and the only way to fit in is going somewhere that anywhere can fit in. Being a bunch of aliens, and they all look freaky. And having your best friend is an alien. So, but there's a galactic war, and yeah, space age, and yeah. I'm in two minds because there's some criticism where people have with sort of a rounded bean animation, and how it's slowly creeping towards everything's sort of starting to look rounded and bean and round bean sort of characters that no one looks real or stylized to look real. I mean, going on to what like previous stuff with Pixar, with like the Toy Stories and the Braves of how, and also Incredibles and all that, where they are sort of stylized sort of human beings, but with this one they're sort of rounded and more bean shaped. Like everything looks like Steven Universe and all them, but in 3D form. I suppose you can, if you don't like it, don't watch it. But I'm probably gonna have a look see in this, because I have seen the. Have you seen Win or Lose on Disney Plus? That's a good show. And they sort of do the sort of same sort of animation where everything's been, but it's more stylized than that, and it's quite beautiful to look at. So, and it definitely looks a lot like what they're doing here in LEO. If you're annoyed that there's no real new stories anymore, here it is. It's right here. Go see it. And looks like Kendall's going to see it as well. So when are we all going to be seeing this in separate cinemas?
Elio comes out in the 19th of June.
June!
June!
So much June.
So
Yep.
we've got 2 movies to watch in a week.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a lot coming out May and June at this point, and July. Fucking,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a stacked 3 months, man. There's some
Yeah.
good shit coming.
I think it's just mostly because it's, the summer
Yes.
holiday.
Well, yeah. But it feels like it's more stacked than normal, and that, I don't know if that's because of the writer's
Normal,
strike
yeah.
being, truly in the past now, and now we finally have like heaps of content finally
They're
coming.
catching
So
up.
yeah, catching up big time.
Well, my
Big
cinema
time.
is definitely doing a lot of anniversary ones. Anniversary re-releases.
Nice.
So that's been good. It's like, oh, sweet. I haven't seen many of them. I think Revenge of the Sith is coming out soon.
It is apparently
Yeah.
20 years.
20 years.
20 years since I have the high ground was born.
I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. But Anakin, Palpatine's evil. In my opinion, the Jedi evil. And you're lost.
Yeah.
George
Quality.
Lucas can write dialogue.
Some good dialogue, mostly not. All right. Before we get on a Star Wars tangent, Gold Leader, because it's time
Yay.
for the wibbly,
Wobbly.
the wobbly,
Wee.
the timey, the wimey. It's time for
We're talking who? Let's get into talking who.
yeah.
Let's talk
Pop
to
art
who
culture.
like we did last summer. It's the last day of summer.
Yes.
A couple of days ago.
Officially, I guess. However that works. Yes. Talking who time. Talking who. Yes. So, yeah, we are here today to talk about Series 6, Episode 12, the penultimate episode of Series 6, Closing Time.
Closing time.
There it is, which puts that damn song in my head every time I say it.
Pearl
Been like that
Jam
all day for me.
song.
Closing time. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're not talking about the song. We're talking about the Doctor Who episode. All right. Overall, my thoughts. I enjoyed this one. It was fun. It was simple. There wasn't much to it. The Cybermen attempted another invasion of Earth, I guess.
They tried.
They tried and they failed pretty quickly. James Corden is back as Craig Owens. I have questions about that as we go through. It was fun. I loved Matt Smith in this episode. His performance was amazing. Definitely one of his best performances of the series, like the season, I guess, so far. Just in terms of, he doesn't have Amy and Rory to bounce off of as much, so he's left to kind of ruminate on his own a bit more. And some of the reflections and things he was saying about, his impending demise, I was like, oh. Feeling the feels, but also really, really funny. So we'll get into it as we go along, but I had a good time watching this. They're not the best Doctor Who ever, of course, but I've seen worse Doctor Who episodes at this point.
Now
Fulya,
you're a fan.
Now, I'm a fan. I'm in.
I've seen worse.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
her. Yes. Fulya, what did you think of Closing Time?
Yeah, no, it was a fun episode. Nice kind of like its own sort of like closed single kind of episode. And the return of the Cybermen, and although it wasn't, we didn't get to see too much of them, and they didn't get to do too much. We still got the little rat-sized version of that had the shark teeth trying to chomp at them at some point. But this was good. Definitely a great performance by Matt Smith. And we also still get a glimpse of Amy and Rory in this episode as well. They make a little appearance just for nostalgia's sake, I suppose, even though it's only been an episode. Yeah. Well, at least for the Doctor, nostalgia's sake. I had fun with this one. It was a good watch. Like I said last week, Cybermen are my favorite enemies. They're just very fascinating space robots.
They're not robots.
You know what I mean. Cyborgs. It was a good episode.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Mike, how was this one?
It was good for a standalone episode without having the baggage of an overarching narrative for season. It was good, but because it's part of like a narrative-driven series, and it's the second last episode, as well as all ramping up to the last episode, because usually you would have like a two-parter, so you can have that, what's going to happen, but this doesn't have it. But it sort of fails on that at that front of keeping yourself engaged, because previous we said goodbye to Rory and Amy, and now we're going into a sitcom scenario with James Corden, and this time it's with a baby. So
a doctor, a man, and a baby.
Bit of out of left field sort of scenario.
Yeah.
But what we had was great, and yes, I do admit that. Yeah, Matt Smith is the very Matt Smithian version of the Doctor in this, as well as the scenario, and he can hold his own really with no matter who's in it, even if it's with Craig or without Craig, and he can talk baby, as it's been established. So it's nice to have that cemented and pretty much justified in this episode. And yeah, and it's a bit of a swan song of the 11th Doctor saying his last hurrah, because he knows when he's going to die, and he's just going around saying bye. I'm done. You know, could have been an episode of seeing someone that is better, like, I don't know, Sarah Jane or anyone, but no, it's Craig. It's Craig.
See, that was going to be my first point of discussion.
All right, let's go on.
But because I had that same exact thought. I made it when I was making my notes as I was watching. I literally had a brainwave at one point, and I was like, of all the characters for the Doctor to go back to and say goodbye, that we see the goodbye of, it's Craig. And yeah, aside from it, you know, I mean, at this time, James Corden was, you know, I mean, yeah, people have mixed opinions on him now, but back then he was pretty much intrinsically beloved, especially in the UK. He hadn't broken into the US at this point.
Yeah.
And so, and he's a good character, and he's fun, and he's enjoyable, and all of that. But yeah, you make a really good point. Like, seeing if they'd gone back to Sarah Jane or someone of more importance and relevance to the Doctor's story, considering we are winding down technically, because he knows he's dying. It is really strange. So I'm just wondering, like, my way of getting around it is just accepting the headcanon of, oh, we're just seeing this goodbye. He's done other goodbyes with other people already. That's kind, because because as you said, Mike, in the episode, the Doctor calls it his farewell tour. So that implies more than one stop has been made along the way. So, but yeah, I think it is an interesting choice of Stephen Moffat and the writers to be like, let's go back to Craig, especially right before the big finale. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. I like the episode, but I'm not sure about that choice. What do you think, Fulya?
This might be a little controversial for you two.
Go.
I actually didn't mind it. I didn't mind that it was going back to James, because it's a random person that he's gone back to that we've only seen once before. It could have been any other kind of person that we've seen in many other iterations of him as the Doctor, but the fact that he's decided to just go to this bumbling idiot was like, hey, he's a friend. Let me go and see how he's going. But I feel like it's just more of a, he's there because something's happening, not because it's him. Something's happening in the area, but he just happened to be there, kind of a situation. And honestly, I didn't really care too much of whether or not if it was going to be him. So it's just like, hey, he's there. He's the idiot that doesn't really know how to, apparently he doesn't know how to be a dad. He's, struggling with, his family, but like, I didn't really care that it was him, to be honest. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. He's there for the comedic relief, it seems, so who cares?
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I like that. Stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. Mike, what do you reckon? You were kind of hinting at your thoughts already, but do you have any kind of expansion on this topic?
It could have been someone else.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, for the story of it's fine. I find it a bit more. I find it a bit more engaging than the previous Doctor and Craig episode.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's just it's unfortunate of where it was put in. I think they had an idea for this particular story. They just didn't know where to put it, unfortunately. So they just chucked it here. But yeah, if they were going to do a swan song, just do what you normally do. Just do what you did for. I suppose they've already done it with the 10th Doctor doing his swan song of going to individual people. But yeah, it's been done before. But maybe, and this is for people who like to put stories in between different other stories, this is just one adventure out of whatever, how many. It's just one stopping point was with Craig, because he met Craig last year, and I suppose there's another episode where he actually meets everyone, and yeah, but I'll leave Big Finish to do that.
Yes, that's fair. Yeah. Well, I talking about Craig, I will say that it did kind of feel like a nice conclusion. Like I feel like you could kind of watch. What was the name of his episode? The renter, the
Lodger.
residence, the lodger. Thank you. I feel like you could kind of watch the lodger and closing time as a nice two-parter. They kind of bookend each other nicely in terms of Craig's story within the Doctor Who world. Because it was kind of nice. Like, I feel like the two of them together bounce off each other really, really well. Like, they have good chemistry on screen together, so that kind of works. So I can see why they would bring him back. And yeah, I will agree that I enjoyed Craig more this time than the last time. And the story was fine last time. Like, it was creepy and unsettling and odd. But I feel like this time, I always like it when companions or recurring cast are more familiar with the world instead of the it's bigger on the inside. Like, that wonder stuff is cool, but I prefer when they're settled in.
Yeah.
And they know the game, because then the story can move along quicker, and then you're not sitting there going, I've seen this reaction from 10 other people. Whatever, each to their own. But so I liked the fact that, you know, Craig was immediately in it and wanting to help the Doctor, because he's like, I've got a son now, and I want to protect Stormageddon, Dark Lord of all, at all costs. Best name ever.
Should have kept it.
Should have kept it. Yeah. So I kind of liked his journey from the beginning of, like, you know, his partner Sophie, I think it is.
Yeah,
she
Sophie.
steps out. Yeah, she's gone away and left him to fend for himself. And he's like, I'm not a good dad. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the fatherly instinct. But then the fact that his story, we kind of see him build that instinct up. We see him build that connection between him and Alfie, as helped by the Doctor, and to have it culminate the way, we won't talk about the ending yet, but to have it culminate in the way it did, to become integral to the plot, I thought was really well executed. So I really liked Craig's journey here. And then my other thing in this episode I really enjoyed was Val keeping on assuming that the Doctor and Craig were actually in a relationship. I thought, yeah, okay, it's a bit cringe. I get it. But I thought they played it well, especially because of the Doctor being very, you know, asexual, as he's kind of known to be. But like that moment where, even before Val came in the picture, that moment where, like, the Doctor was trying to get Craig not to look around and see that he was in the Cyberman ship, and he's like coming onto him fully, and I was like, oh my god. He's like, Craig, I love you, it's you, it's always been you. And he's just like, oh my god. I was like, I was getting hot under the collar. But you know what I loved about that moment? I loved the fact that Craig didn't say, I'm not gay. He said, I'm taken. So I thought that was a very clever use of words in that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the Craig of it all in the episode. I thought he was great. actually. So yeah, Fulia, what did you think of Craig Owen's return to Doctor Who?
Look, honestly, like I said, it didn't really bother me too much whether or not we were getting him or someone else completely different. It was fine. The fact that we got to see an evolution of Craig was also really interesting. You know, he's now got a kid that he has to look after. But now this is the first time he's going to be alone with the child, and now he doesn't know how to do that without his wife, and so that was fun to kind of watch. But then at the same time, he knows that if the doctor's there's a reason why the doctor's there, and it's kind of what I liked about seeing Craig in this episode is more like we don't get to see him be that idiot. It's more of a, okay, he was here last time and something was wrong. There must be something else wrong now because he's here. So like he's cotton onto it, and which is good in that respect. I love the fact that the doctor can speak baby and is essentially translating everything to Craig of what the baby's saying, and Craig is just like, he's not saying that, is he? It's like, Stormageddon, what? So that was kind of a cute little interaction that we got with the whole, there being a baby and Doctor understanding what the baby says and wants. So like I said before, I didn't mind that we got Craig back for a little extra fun and adventure. Like you, Kendall, that scene where they're in the elevator and all of a sudden they've been teleported to the spaceship, and the doctor's just like trying to figure out a way to keep his attention on him, and he's just getting closer and closer, and he's just right in his face, and that did get me being like, oh boy, please don't. But yeah, no, it was still fun, just overall kind of seeing the shenanigans that happen and all that sort of stuff with Craig, and finally he's not with a pram, like, because it was slowing him down. Had to get the little baby carrier. The doctor was like, here, use this. Otherwise you're too slow. So yeah, no, it was good. He was the comedic relief, and then he kind of became the hero in the end, which is interesting. We'll talk about that eventually.
Yes. Thank you, Fulia. Mike, hello. As a father yourself, watching Craig go through the motions here, and watching his story develop from where he starts to where he finishes, how did that work for you, and what did you think of it?
Yeah, it was. It is sort of something that that I can sort of relate. Like when you're having a kid for the first time, it's like you're always full of self-doubt, and no matter how many people are saying, "Oh, you're doing fine," it's like, "Am I really? Am I doing the right thing? Is this good? Have I not completely screwed up my kid so far? Are they in 20 years going? It's like, you did this. It's like, because you did that to your own parents and that sort of thing. It's like, yeah. So it is relatable and that sort of thing. And I've been trying to figure out, because Craig and Sophie aren't married, which is interesting, especially for a time it's like a child out of wedlock is like ooh thing, but with this sort of early 2010 sort of writing, it's like, oh, we can add this as a bit more progressive, because when the last conversation that Craig and Val have is like, oh, it's love to see an old married couple. It's like, It's like, no, we're not married, civil partnership, and just going down the road of, oh, it's nice seeing you gay. And it's like, no, we're not gay. It's a little bit cringy. I mean, it is early. It is the writing of the time. It's like, wouldn't it be funny if we were mistakenly gay? It's like because being gay is funny. Anyway. And I say that because the writer is actually an openly gay person. Hooray! But
Hooray!
Unfortunately, he's a homophobe. He's a transphobic piece of shit. So, nay. Anyway.
Oh, so he's a bad one.
He's one of the bad ones. Yes.
One of the
connotation. Yeah. So yeah. I did like the progression of having something like coming to terms. It's more of the Craig episode than the Doctor. So that's good. Of seeing the progression of what happens, and then the crescendo at the end that we can talk about later, because is it justified or not? I don't know. We will see. So we talk about the Cybermen.
Yeah, let's talk about the Cybermen.
Or Cybermen adjacent.
Cybermen adjacent, yes. The Cybermat.
Cybermat.
Yeah, Cybermen in this episode were good. I too am a fan of the villains that we see here. Like, some of the earlier New Who, watching and just remembering characters being like assimilated to become these robots, and effectively, having the humanity crushed out of them in a sense, I guess. It's kind of harrowing. So I kind of like that they, like, just from a writing perspective, I like the fact that they take the good people and they just turn them into something evil, or just emotionless, really. So I think that's kind of they're great. So it was cool to see them come back here. I missed the exposition about why the ship was under the ground. I can't remember. Was it that from a previous invasion attempt, or was it like a time travel thing, or did you guys catch it?
I think it was they may have like crash landed onto Earth and they didn't have the power, so and then the council of that town built something over the top of them, and so they just plugged into it and they're trying to power up again. And I think they're just rebuilding their army because they've lost quite a lot of soldiers, I suppose.
Yeah.
They're more of a parasite.
Yeah, I did like the premise of them leeching all the power, so that they could, reboot themselves and expand again to, take over. That was kind of fun. And yeah, the little cybermats. Is that, Mike, is that the first time we've seen cybermats in Doctor Who, or do they go back to Classic Who at all?
They go all the way back from the Classic Who, like all the way
nice.
from the 60s, like this particular version. The last time we saw it was a fourth Doctor episode, I want to say, especially Tomb of the Cybermen, where we see him for the first time, which is a Patrick Troughton version. Yeah, so the last time we saw it was during the 70s. So, back from the dead.
Back from the dead. I liked them as another foil for the Doctor to kind of overcome. And the kind of fight that they have in Craig's kitchen was interesting, especially because, like, the creepy teeth were an interesting addition.
That's a new addition.
That's a new addition. Okay, so they upgraded them a little from the OG. I like that. Take something from Classic Who and reinvent it for the new era. Makes sense. But yeah, I kind of thought them kind of interesting as a new way to kind of get them in trouble. So that was cool. But yeah, but no, I don't have too much else to say. Cybermen are great. We're going to see more of them down the road as we keep watching, and yeah, I liked them in this episode, not their best attempt at a takeover, of course. They were definitely on the back foot here, but still threatening nonetheless. Taking some people from the mall, the shopping center into their ship. So yes. Fulia, what did you think
Yes.
of the Cybermen? Given you say they're your favorite possibly of all Doctor Who villains, how did they go for you in this episode?
Yeah, I kind of like I was okay with the way they went in this particular episode. We didn't really get to see too much of them though, so that kind of made me a little sad. I'm like, there should have been more.
Yeah, they're more of a salad dressing than the actual thing for this episode.
Salad itself, yeah.
Mm.
No, I get you. Nah, I get you. Look, it's fine. I'm always very intrigued by the idea of the way that the Cybermen are created, and the fact that the only way to be a strong being is to have no feelings at all, no fear, no emotion, whatever, and you'll be able to be a great soldier in that respect. And it's also interesting the way that they end up, if they can't get a whole human or a whole like being inside the shell of a Cyberman, then they apparently they can strip for parts and build one, which is also very disturbing.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of, some weird reason, I love the Cybermen. And the Cybermats themselves, that little toy electronic metal thing, kind of looked cute to begin with. And then the teeth came out, and I'm like, ugh, no.
Yes. Fulia's just kindly sent a photo to the our group chat, and yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh.
When I was just having a look at it, I'm like seeing what, because as soon as you did cyber mat, I was like, wait, is it the little creature thing that you got, that we saw in the thing? And I had to Google it, and I'm like, oh, okay, it is that thing. But yeah, when I saw there were like various iterations of a Cybermat from Doctor Who fandom. I think the last time that there was one kind of had more kind of like tentacly kind of looking sort of a thing. So it still had the same sort of like shell outline where it's like very kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like very, I'm gonna say sperm-like in shape.
A little bit.
Kind of. But it also had like weird sort of a shape to it. It almost like had like tentacly kind of a beard thing going on as its teeth, I'm gonna assume. But I think this more modern version looks a bit better compared to that one.
Yeah, it's just to hide the wheels of the machine.
Yeah, to hide the wheels, probably. Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, I mean, if you want, you can get a Cybermat as a toy. There is merch for a Doctor Who Cybermat that is available if you would like to have one on your shelf. Just don't make sure it's not got batteries in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And make sure the kill switch is set to off.
Off, 100%.
Oh, hey, I see you got the problem here. Your crusty toes on evil. I love you,
Yes.
Homer.
Yes,
There you go.
nice.
There's your impression for the week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Mike, what did you think of the Cybermen in this episode?
Not enough. I want more. But
Yeah.
I did like the premise of them crash landing and stuff built over and then coming out. But want more. Want more.
Yeah. More. Give us more.
More. Less Craig. More.
More.
Yeah. Fun time of seeing Cybermats for a long time. Will they come back? I don't know. Spoilers. And yeah, just can't wait for another Cyberman story to dive into more Cyberman stuff.
More
'Cause-
Cyberman lore.
Oh, the lore is dense. Like, like we can get into it later on, but there's like the last episode of the Peter Capaldi era is where they bring back like the Monbass version of the Cybermen, which was basically Pluto being not a planet, which for the 60s is ahead of its time because Pluto is not a planet anymore. But it's actually like a spaceship, and it's got versions of humans that are coming back to, because they've completely ran out of like stuff and they're coming back. But that's later on. And yeah, even and all throughout the classic Who's like these Cybermen are from different eras, and it's the lore in it is just absolutely bizarre and just not sticking to one. And with New Who, they decided they came from they came from a different dimension. There you go. And then somehow they came in here, and these I'm thinking these particular Cybermen aren't from the different dimension. These are actually the original from a different from Pluto coming in. So the 60s eras where they crash land on Earth, and then they got built over, because you can sort of do that. Like they crash landed in the 60s, and so the stuff is there, and yeah, and they were lying in dormant for almost 50 years. So that's pretty good. But
I've gotten to the point where every time I see a Cyberman in an episode of Doctor Who, and I'm just like, I'd love to cosplay as well. That'd be fun.
But which version?
See,
there's
there are many
multiple
iterations. Yes.
versions.
Yes, I would probably go the modern era, kind of the New Who kind of Cyberman. But even then, there's like a couple of different versions of it.
Yeah,
so
there's a
I
couple
need
of
to
different versions
look
in
into
New
it.
Who as well,
Yeah.
which we can't wait to get to in the next season.
Yes, I'm excited. Cool. Well, before we move on to some more plot details, specifically the ending, Amy and Rory show up in this episode. They make a brief little cameo. No direct interaction with the Doctor, but the Doctor does see them as they happen to be in the same shopping center where everything's going down, coincidentally. And you know, I have questions about it. But they look happy, and you know, Amy's a model for some cosmetic company. It looks like perfume or something, and she's getting an autograph. You know, she's signing an autograph for a little girl, which is really kind of sweet. And the Doctor's umming and ahhing about going over and saying hi, but he's like, he decides not to, obviously, because he's like, I've already said my goodbyes. But then I'm wondering, I'm like, how far down the line has the Doctor time traveled for Amy to be an established model to the point where she's getting signatures? You know, she's signing for girls. Oh, Mike's put his finger on his lips.
Because I know.
Because you know, great. Yes, but yeah, so that was interesting. But kind of nice for the Doctor to have a moment of temptation with like, oh, they're right there, but I need to leave them alone. I promised them. I promised myself. I'm committing to the bit. You know, but it's kind of really nicely done. Like no dialogue, just all through the face. From Matt Smith in that scene. So yeah,
Face acting.
it was cool.
Yeah.
Yes, face acting. Fulya, what did you think of the moment where Amy and Rory just suddenly appear?
Yeah, it's interesting to see that, and you know, the doctor just had this moment of hesitation of walking over and will he, won't we, won't he kind of a situation. Um, I liked that it was like there was no dialogue at all. Like the only dialogue you got was from Amy signing the autograph for the little girl, and that was it. But I liked that it was literally just a good like 2 minutes of flicking between the doctor's expression and then over to Amy and Rory in the distance, and sort of cutting back and forth, and just seeing it in his face that he wants to go and speak to them, he misses them, but he doesn't want to disturb their life, essentially. And so he's just like, no, I can't. No, but I really want to. Oh, but no, I can't. Kind of the expressions you can sort of see on his face, and you know, you'd see a moment where he's smiling at the fact that, you know, they're happy and they're safe, but then a moment of sadness where, you know, you see his mouth drop a little bit, because he knows that if he goes over there, it's gonna cause some distress for them. So, yeah, it was a great little scene that we got to have of just those two just popping up, just to kind of pull on the heartstring of the doctor.
Yeah. All for the emotions.
Exactly.
Cool. Mike, you have some insider intel. Is it spoiler-ish and you can't say, or can you divulge things about Amy's career as a model and maybe how far ahead in the future we are with the Doctor in this episode?
Well, it doesn't specifically say, but this is more headcanon, really. Because considering the Doctor is actually on this particular timeline and waiting to his demise, which we've all seen at the start of the season, so he can't really go back and forth. He actually says, and this is divulging into the ending of the episode of him actually using up his time to help Craig to, you know, clean up his apartment. But because he did it in the past, but he did it in the future. So the headcanon is that the Ori and Raimi that we've seen here, the Rory and Amy version that we've seen, takes place before we see them at the start of this season. So because they need to live their life to get the letter from the Doctor to go to Arizona in America.
Right. Okay. Of course.
Yeah. So therefore, her modelling career is being established here, and that would go into something in the future. So, and that's a spoiler. So
Okay.
And so he wants to say wants to say hello, but he will be crossing that time of interrupting the past and future Doctor himself going sending the letter and actually saying, hey, I need you to go to Arizona because this particular thing, and so he can't really go. Time travel rules, can't go back onto your own timeline to mess things up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that gets broken every day. But
timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey. Very timey-wimey. Yeah, and it's more or less a headcanon sort of explanation on where Rory and Amy are at this particular time. So it's not necessarily after the departure from the previous episode, but it's more to do with their past and establishing, and would explain them having enough funds to actually have a spontaneity trip to America because of the money that Amy is pulling in, and because Rory on a nurse's salary probably couldn't do that. So
no,
anyway, headcanon. It's always good. So, ending. Everything is all wrapped up because of the power of love.
Yeah. Yes. The power of love. Yeah. I don't know. I liked it more than I didn't like it. It did feel like a convenient out, but then it also made sense with the story of Craig struggling with his fatherhood. So and like for a way for him to come out of being a Cyberman, because we see him become assimilated, and it was very like, oh no, and the doctor's like calling out for him like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was very good, like the ending. But yeah, I think I liked it more than I did. The fact that that Craig still in Cyberman form, even though the Cybermen are like, he has no emotions, he has no humanity left, it's all gone. He just hears the call of the cry of his son of Stormageddon, and he gets brought out of it and manages to save the day. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's not perfect, it's convenient, but it's kind of sweet at the same time. So I thought it was okay. Fulya, how did it work for you?
Yeah, it was. I didn't mind it either. So it was a really interesting way of them trying to end the life of Craig, essentially. I forgot that, considering I've already watched this before, I forgot that he came out of it. Like, I thought, he was going in and he was done. And I was starting to get a little emotional about it. I'm like, oh no, poor Stormageddon is going to be all alone. And then, just the whole, the power of the bond and connection that Craig has with his son brought him out of it, and I was like, oh yeah, of course. And just the fact that, the fact that the baby can feel that his dad is slowly disappearing, like, and just starts wailing in cries and sadness, like that's intense,
Babies are
That's
pretty smart.
Yeah, that's a very intense connection. And yeah, it was just really interesting that the cries of the baby were starting to make the Cybermen go a bit crazy, because they couldn't handle the cries. They're like, oh my gosh, this is emotion, we can't handle this, and blah blah blah. And then Craig comes out of it and ends up saving the day because of the cries of little Alfie. And yeah, like, it was honestly, it was a little bit of a powerful moment. That was a powerful scene, to be honest, to just to see that you can't break a bond between a father and their child. And
damn straight.
yeah. So yeah, no, it was a very interesting scene, and the fact that the doctor's just yelling for him to listen and to not to keep feeling feelings and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was a very interesting scene. I felt that it was very powerful, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you liked it. It's good. Mike, how did it go for you? Again, as a father watching this moment, and also as a Doctor Who fan, what did you make of how this played out?
First time watch it, a little bit sappy. And it's like, oh, really? Power of love can get you out of being converted into a Cyberman? Okay. But, now I've grown. I've got my children. And I know how it feels. And it's like, yeah, okay. You can justify that. And also, yeah, and just, it's fanciful. So it's fitting. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people are half and half. I'm sort of half and half because, yeah, my first feelings are a little bit sappy, and it's like, really, is that really the ending that we want to do? All right, sort of, it's sort of take out the legs of what Cybermen are about. I mean, an easy way. It's almost an easy way out, but it's good for what it is, and it justifies of the story how Craig is trying to learn to be a dad and fighting for this lump of potato that just screams and yells and poops.
Lump of potato.
Yeah, because when they're there, it's just a potato. They just lie on the floor and it's like, hey, what am I doing here? Cool. All right. So, some people see it as that. I do. Because you can just put them down and they just stay there. But when they start rolling, then you got to make sure they stay where they are. That's why you make a nest. You make a nest of towels so they don't go anywhere. Yeah. So, good episode.
Yeah. Good episode. And then a tease for the finale beyond just a teaser trailer. We got a full scene with River Song at the end, who's, reading about the Doctor and learning about the Doctor. Like, we have that beautiful, poignant moment where the Doctor, in full cowboy hat, turns to those kids, and then you hear the kids in a monologue. And, it's really, really kind of moving. And then we get the River Song scene that quickly turns sour. The eye patch lady comes in with the creepy aliens, and we're back to the silence will fall when the question is asked. And then Kendall put 2 and 2 together because the lake is called Lake Silencio. And we're dealing with the silence. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't put that together sooner. But here we are. So good setup for next week, for next week's episode, and how the finale is going to play out. I'm really excited because River Song is in the astronaut suit and poised to kill the Doctor. How is it gonna happen?
Will it land the ending?
Yeah, will they stick the landing? Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they will. I hope so. Mike, you guys know. I don't.
Yeah.
I've forgotten, so it's fine.
Great. It's like you're watching it for the first time again.
Exactly.
For the first time, for the last time.
Yeah.
For the first time, for the last time. Fully, your thoughts on this setup for the the finale?
Yeah, look, honestly, I was a bit worried for River there, and especially when she ended up getting ambushed by one, I'm gonna say Madame Covarian. I think that's her name.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
Check the IMDb. Yep.
And then got the silence behind her, and I was like, oh no, not those, not them again. Here we go. And yeah, like, I forgot that it was that River ended up going into that suit. I completely forgot. And then I was like, oh, penny drop.
So that's why she's in jail.
That's why.
For killing a good
why.
man.
Mm-hmm.
That good man being the Doctor.
Nah. And yeah, no, like, that kind of took me by surprise, even though this is the second time I'm watching it. My memory's not great, so that's why.
It's fine. This episode is like nearly 15 years old, so I think we can forgive you.
Yeah.
But I've watched it within the last 10 years.
Just take the win, Fulya.
Yeah, I know.
We're giving you an out.
We're giving you an out. Yeah, exactly. Nice.
Nah, yeah, it was a good way to end it. Very good cliffhanger.
Yes. All right, Mike, take us out with your final thoughts on this setup for the finale.
This is a really good post-episode thing to get yourself ramped up for it. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it's tacked on to an episode that's got nothing to do with it. So they could have put in like maybe something to overarching, like a two-parter, as they usually do, just to get that ramped up. But the last 2 minutes of this is great, and just ties into everything that we've been dealing with, as well as just, it's so creepy having kids just have a nursery rhyme. You know, it's all good. Tick tock goes the clock.
Tick
Tick tock goes the clock. Yeah, creepy kids.
Where river kills the doctor. What?
What?
We're finally going to see what happens at the end? Sweet.
Sweet.
I think
Good
we're going
bookend.
back to America. I think.
We are.
Yeah. Full circle.
Full circle moment is about to happen. All right. So that's it. Those are our thoughts. If no one else has anything else they need to mention,
No.
we're
Yeah.
done.
Good episode.
Our thoughts on the penultimate episode of Series 6 of Doctor Who, Closing Time.
Almost done.
It is not closing time for the Doctor just yet. One more episode this season. Will he survive? Of course he will. But how is it going to happen?
How do you know? You don't know. Stop acting
You
like
don't
you know.
know.
He hasn't got plot armor. Anyway.
Plot armor. Yeah. So looking forward to that. Hopefully next week we'll get to it. But until then, that's the show. We're done. We're out of here. No more show to be shown. So on the count of 3, a 1, a 2, a 3.
And
that
That
was
a podcast called Fred.
Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for the latest Fred content.
If you like to listen to Fred the Alien, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
If you'd like to watch Fred the Alien, you can head over to youtube.com/Fred the Alien Productions. And if you're watching us right now, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified of future content. And if you're watching us over on Twitch, make sure to give us a follow on the way out. Twitch.tv/Fred the Alien Twitch.
Yes, I've been a Kendall Richardson.
I've been a Fulya and Michael.
And I've been the Michaelista with the background still the same color, except for Fulya. It's actually getting dark because her windows are open.
Way to call me out.
Yes. Remember to eat, babe.
Yes.
Remember, Freddy lives, Loki dies, the Doctor is in, and have you seen my Pokemon cards? I've got so many Pokemon cards. Look at
my
Jim.
God.
It started.
What do you mean started? I started this like 20 odd years ago.
Let's continue.
Almost 30. Jesus Christ, these are...
Remember to look after yourself and your mental health, everyone.
Yes!
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thanks, Caleb. And...
And...
Stay.
See...